So welcome again for another episode of IBD Essentials. It's a great pleasure today to host Paulo Sousa. She is from Portugal, and just at UEG we were recently meeting, and she is the chair of the Young Talent Group for 2 years. And I thought it was really exciting for me being a past president of UEG, and I love all the activities of the Young Talent Group, which we really initiated several years ago. And so I had even some scientific collaborations with Paula in the past. But Paula, it would be probably great if you first introduce yourself, tell us where you are living,
yes.
And then we continue with some questions and Young Talent Group and all the activities.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for the invitation to be here. So, as you said, my name is Paula. I'm from Portugal. I actually am working in a small center in Viseu. I work in the IBD department led by Dr. Paulo Ministro, and I'm also doing my PhD with Professor Fernando Magno. And since 2 years, I've been the chair of the Young Talent Group. This has been an amazing opportunity. We do a lot of activities, and we can discuss them further on if you'd like. So it's really been exciting to do this work so far.
Yeah. Before we start to talk about UEG and the Young Talent Group, I personally interested, I think also our listeners are very interested. Why were you choosing first to go into medicine, and then why did you choose to work in GI, and ultimately probably we can also talk why IBD and not many of the other fancy fields in GI?
So when I was a teenager, I always thought that I was going to devote my life to science and do research. So when I got into medicine, it was mostly into that perspective of doing research. Then I started really liking the field of helping people, really get to know people. And when it was the time to choose a specialty, I wanted to have a very theoretical field, but also practical field. So cardiology came to mind, but gastroenterology, I think it won because it has everything. We always learn that there are inflammatory, autoimmune, neoplastic conditions, and gastroenterology has it all. It has all the diseases, all the types of diseases. It has a lot of technical specifications. So that's why I chose gastroenterology, and I'm very happy to choose that.
Yeah, I think this is exactly the same for me. I also was considering to become a cardiologist or doing GI, and I love the technical skills we need, and I think this is that you can do something manually, but I also, and some people don't like it, but I like the breadth of all these different organs. So the cardiologists, they only have the heart, and then only sometimes they know something about the left coronary artery. The GI have so many different organs, and at least during your training, you just have to learn everything and you have to know all the organs. So why did you choose then to subspecialize in IBD and not in hepatology or IBS or whatever?
So IBD, first I had great mentors, so it was kind of natural to evolve into that field. But also, and the same things I said before about gastroenterology, because IBD also has it all. It's not only about the gut, it has extraintestinal manifestations. You also have techniques related to it. So IBD became a natural choice. I also do a little bit of colorectal oncology. I go to the colorectal oncology MDTs, and there's also a connection there with IBD. So I'm really happy.
Okay, you have exactly chosen the same pathway as I did. So this makes it even more entertaining and more funny. So can you tell us what you just mentioned? You're doing a PhD, and what are your areas of expertise, or what are you liking the most at the moment? You are very young, so you have a long career, but what is the major topic at the moment?
So it might be kind of unconventional topic, because what I'm doing is studying the role of thiopurines in IBD. And what I've found so far, it's so diverse between countries, because if you look at some countries, people are saying completely outdated, no one uses them. But then in the north of Europe, for example, a lot of countries still use thiopurines as first line. And even though we are always discussing new drugs and new mechanisms of actions, I think there has not been a congress so far in IBD when someone does not ask the question, what about azathioprine? What is the role? Always. And I think it's still not completely answered. I think it still has a place in IBD, and that was also a question during UEG week. even maybe in underdeveloped countries, they don't have money for biologics, but that's something that I'm studying, and I hope to publish my final articles this year still.
Okay, no, I think this is a very exciting topic. For me, I started to work on thiopurines like 30 years ago, and this was also very funny because when we started it, it was really rare in Europe. It was more popular in the US, and I was really, especially my boss, was called a crazy guy treating IBD patients with a cancer medication, because at this time it was believed to be very difficult, and I think this is something which we know, and I'm hope that you can finish the work pretty soon and come with great results. So let's move a little bit to your activities within the Young Talent Group. I think not all of our listeners, because they come from all over the world, know the aspects of the Young Talent Group. Yeah. Perhaps you start to tell us a little bit what is the Young Talent Group, what are the purposes of this group?
So the Young Talent Group is basically the young section of UEG, United European Gastroenterology. It exists for a little bit more over than 10 years, and we are 8 to 9 members, all from different countries, European countries, all below the age of 35 when we start. And what we do is we try to advocate for the voices of the young GIs in Europe, but also across the world. And we also create activities for young GIs. And we have lots of activities, and you've heard about them also when you were present. And we have, for example, the Clinical Visiting Fellowship, which is the opportunity to spend 2 to 4 weeks or even more in European Renown Center. We have a Young GI blog. We also write articles in the UEG journal, which is the Young GI angle. We also advocate for the Research Fellowship, which is the opportunity to spend 1 year also in European Center, and UEG provides a grant. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, 50,000 euros to do that research. And also during UEG week, we also have activities. We do mentoring sessions. We also have poster sessions where we try to teach people how to present. So many things. And everyone from Europe can apply to be a member of Young Talent Group. We have applications every year, which is usually starts in the beginning of the year. So I'm from a small center, as I told you. I'm from Viseu. So I never thought I would have the opportunity to be involved, nevertheless be the chair of the Young Talent Group. But UEG really is a society that gives voices to everyone and gives opportunities to everyone. I think this is a really strong point of UEG. So when I was selected, I was amazed by it, and has been such an opportunity for learning not only education but also political skills and how to network, how to meet people. So I really tell people to be involved with the Young Talent Group.
I think you mentioned really a lot of points, and we will probably touch on some of them. I think you several times mentioned networking, and networking is very important. And just going to one of these aspects, so the clinical fellowship, for instance, or the visiting fellowship for a short term of time, this is organized completely by the Young Talent Group, so they get a lot of applications. There is a list of centers who are happy to host someone. Yes. So we are, for instance, such a center. And personally, I feel that we really get a lot out of it, because we start to network. We start especially to network with younger people, and as you mentioned, we have the full breadth of Europe. So we had in our center already people from Portugal, we had people from Poland, from Turkey, and I think in times as we have now, that we are all fighting and wars and everything, our generation, or the very young generation, they know that we can collaborate, that we can work together, and it's only one world. And I personally believe this is very important.
Yeah, it is, in fact, an excellent opportunity. We do get a lot of applications, over 100, and it's the Young Talent Group that goes through all the applications. We score them, and we're going to do it this Monday. We're going to select for next year. But it's not, and one point I would also like to make, it's not only for gastroenterologists. So surgeons can apply, any specialty in digestive health can apply. And in the website, you have the list of centers, of those centers, and there they have the specifications, if it's a surgeon, the gastroenterologist, what are the minimum requirements to apply for that center. So that's something to consider as well.
Yeah. UEG is very diverse, so it's IBD, it's hepatology, it's endoscopy. I think some things go very nicely together. How do you get the balance in the young talent group among the different people, and also the European spread, so from north to south and east to west? And we know, for those who don't know it, UEG is not only Europe, it's also the countries bordering the Mediterranean Sea and in Northern Africa, so it's even a little bit more than Europe.
That's a very important point across all committees in UEG. So there's an equality and diversity plan that we all have to follow when we are selecting new members. Luckily, these last 2 years when I was sharing, what we do is usually people apply and we score the applications according to some criteria. 4 to 5 members score each application, and then we go to the top 10, and we want to have diversity in gender, diversity in country. You can only have one person per country, no repetitions, and also in specialties. For example, we want to have basic sciences, we want to have surgeons, and the new members, we had a surgeon that's leaving, we have a new member is coming. Luckily this year the top 4 scores were all two women, 2 men, a surgeon, basic scientists, so it was very easy. But if it's not that easy, we discuss and try to make it as diverse as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned this. If somebody is really new to UEG, this is sometimes a little bit complicated because there is so many things to balance: societies, countries, gender, age, whatsoever. And I think you said something about mentoring. So can you tell about the mentoring programs of the Young Talent Group? So what are you doing? Who is going to be mentored?
Yeah, so we are having a mentoring program here at UEG Week. We don't have still a widespread because that takes a lot more work. But right now what we have at UEG Week, we'll have a mentoring session tomorrow as it is today right now. So on Monday, we'll have 4 experts. We have IBD, we have Ivana Talks from IBD. And people can just appear, and it's going to be career focused. So they can just go speak face-to-face with an expert in a specific field and really ask their questions and how to develop their career. So that's mainly what we're doing right now in terms of mentoring. But we'd like to develop that even further in the future.
I have one very specific question, and I'm happy that you're here as a female. When I started with UEG 30 years ago, I really thought it's a crazy organization, to be really honest. And I can say this because I said this at every meeting and even when I was president, because at this time it was a group of older guys and there were very few females. There were no young people, and it was really probably an honor when you could give a lecture there at the age of 40. Now it has changed significantly, and at least in Germany, and you have to tell us how it's in Portugal, the females are increasing, and now there are more females in medicine. But is there also a need to mentor people to stay in the field? Because this is something I still see a huge gap. There are more females starting, but if you look who will become a chair or some intermediate senior person, it's still in most of the countries more male than female, or is this a wrong impression?
No, I don't think it's a wrong impression at all. We still have more males in the top positions from what I see. And it's something that's also cultural across countries, because we were discussing this in a equality and diversity meeting we just had. Women still tend to undervalue themselves, and they're applying for positions. They only apply when they have 100% of the criteria, and men are more confident. So I think that also takes a good part of it, for that to happen. But what we do need, and that's a point that you said, we do need women mentoring women. It's very important for women to see someone they can recognize themselves into that person and see, I can do this. I can go and do advanced endoscopy. I can be an expert in IBD. So it's really important to really pressure to have more women or an equal amount of men and women in the top positions, so people can recognize themselves in that position and also think that they can do it as well. And that's also in the equality and diversity plan of UEG. That's something we aim for.
I think this is extremely important. So when we were starting equality task forces and also in hospitals, a lot of females at that time didn't volunteer or didn't want to start. Sometimes even the men were the chair of this. So I think what you really pointed out, probably it's really good that females mentor females. And there are a lot of, especially in the field of IBD, programs now starting for younger ones, but also for senior ones. And probably this is very important, or?
Yeah, I completely agree. And we still have some sessions, not in UEG, but even outside of UEG, some conferences that are directed to women, and people might find it bizarre. But it is really important to have this, for women to have their place, because usually when a woman is speaking and a man starts speaking, she shut up and thinks, I don't have the power to speak. It still happens nowadays, even in the 21st century. So when we have a place that is protected for women and they can show their skills, they can show who they are, I think that's super important.
I think the younger generation is much more open in discussion. So when I also tried once to enter the Let's Meet party. Wow. So I was together with Paul Fockens, and
I was at that party.
We were just in the line, and there were some people approaching us. Oh, you guys look pretty old. Are you believing this is the wrong party? And we didn't want to step by, so we were just in the line. So it was really funny, and the discussion. So I think times really have changed.
Yeah, luckily times are changing. And Let's Meet, that's a networking opportunity for young GIs that happens UEG week. So it already happened this time, but next year, if you come to UEG week, it will be good to have you here. And well, we do have an age limit for Let's Meet, but we don't take it that seriously. And it's really important to have also senior people attending, and it's more opportunities to network as well.
I think I have at least two more aspects I would to touch. What would you recommend to females or also to males? What they should do? What is the need to really get the setting pushed that more females get into the clinic and also stay there for a longer time?
Females to get into the clinic. I think, well, women, as we told, there are a lot of women entering into medicine and they are entering into clinic. So women have a place in medicine. That's absolutely correct. That's happening. What might be happening is they are not taking positions like advanced endoscopy because it's still looking like as a man's world. And they have to understand that bias has to end. Women can do endoscopy just as well as men. They can take senior positions just as well as men. So they have to release themselves of that bias, so that unconscious bias that we might have towards ourselves as well. And just feel brave enough and have the confidence to know that they can do it, even despite all the voices that might tell them that they cannot. So have the confidence to do it. Yeah. And they are not lesser than men.
So what I can extract is that you need role models, probably that push and confidence. And if you have no confidence, you need somebody to support you to develop some confidence.
Absolutely.
To get this.
That's absolutely correct. Yeah.
So one bad part about being a young talent group member is that you have an age limit. Yeah. So at a certain limit, you're kicked out or you step out. And as probably with all the positions, it's sometimes a little bit difficult. Have you any thoughts about this?
About the age limit? Well, I think what some societies do is instead of putting an age limit, they put a time of career limit, because some people might get into medicine later in life. Still, I think there should be a protected space for either young in age or young in career people to really start their career, because it's really hard when you have all seniors already with their place in medicine to have a place to start. So this is like a protected space where you can start your career international. You can go, you can co-share, you can be a speaker in UEG week, despite being a young person. So because of that, this age or career limit should be kept in the, I'm in favor of it. Yeah.
No, I definitely agree. I was just wondering about your thoughts because your term is ending pretty soon. So you probably already start to get into a depression and need to get out of it, or what are your future tasks?
So as a young YTG chair, we stay 1 more year supporting the new chair. So I think the depression is going to kick in next UEG week. Yeah. Right now, I still have a year of YTG. And maybe what happens with a lot of YTG members is that we stay involved in UEG, and we can see that past YTG members are now chairs. We have Henriette, for example, and Iago is a new chair of the education committee. So YTG really opens doors for you. And I know that if I apply and if I have the confidence in myself, I can still have a place in UEG. It's just it's just starting.
No, I think it's like a huge family, and I think this was also a call for everybody to join the UEG week, because after one UEG week is before the next UEG week, and UEG is not something which is having weeks, but it's also throughout the year very active online, and there are master classes, courses, and so on. So I think it's an extremely active group. Yeah. So before we finish, now you will probably have at least a little bit more time. What are your future ideas? Will you stay in IBD? Yes. Your master thesis seems to be almost finished. So what are your thoughts on your closer future?
So I really want to dedicate myself even more into IBD. So I'm still considered a general gastroenterologist in Portugal. I do IBD, I do the colorectal cancer, but I also have general gastroenterology consultations. I want to really apply myself more to IBD, have more consultations on this, and also develop the colorectal MDT in my center. And I hope to continue work with all these connections I've made in UEG and in other societies, and continue doing research, writing articles, really keep this collaboration going. So.
Okay. I think this was a very entertaining discussion, and I personally learned again a lot, and I hope you could motivate more people to move into GI, and even better to move into IBD, the best field in the world.
No doubt.
So I thank you so much for this wonderful discussion, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.